Okay, so here we are again in part 2 of the series. We've just finished the foundation routine, and now we're going to go into the bronzing, blush, highlighter, and what really takes place instead of having to use an overall powder, a setting powder, which sometimes can look a little cakey on skin as we age. Kind of less is more, and we want to keep it slightly dewy. We don't want it dried and matte where things start to look cakey and puttyish on top. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do our bronzer. And I spent a lot of time researching bronzers, and I have picked the MAC bronzer. And the reason why I picked the MAC bronzer, and this one is in golden, sorry, I won't blind you with that. It looks dark, but it's actually quite sheer. I don't know if you can even see that, but it's actually quite sheer. There it goes. Again, because we want it to just lay and kind of meld into these layers we've just put on. So a nice brush to use is the Real Techniques Dome Multi-Fiber Brush. And this is nice because it's just really light and fluffy, and we're not going to put it on too harshly, but it'll still get in those little areas that we need to get. And another thing is we're actually just going to be putting the bronzer in this area here. We're not going to go past this area. We want to sculpt and thin out, you know, our cheeks and under our chin, and then give the image that we don't have such a high forehead. So here we go. So taking it in just a light little bit and just swirl it in this area. And you can see I just tapped it twice, 2 or 3 times I think, and I already got that much coverage. So it's deceiving that you would think a brush like this wouldn't cover and do its job very well, but it really does. So less is more. And then I take whatever's left and I sweep it under my chin, and that's to help reduce any lines from the foundation into the neck, which I did take, and if you saw me, I did kind of sweep it down. Maybe I wasn't so obvious this video, but I usually do try to sweep it down so I don't get the line right here. That's a very aging thing, is to have the line right there. So tap tap and sweep it in. And then again, take whatever's left over and pull it down. And then a way to get the your neck to look a little bit longer is to take whatever's left over on your brush, not a lot, and sweep it down from your jaw and just kind of swirl and add a little depth in your little, oh, what's it called? What is it from English Patient? He was obsessed with that area. Something notch, I think it was. Well, anyways. Okay, so now I'm going to sculpt the top part of my head. My hair does come over here, so I'm not going to put tons on this side, but I do have a really high forehead. Sorry, getting out of view here. And just bringing it down just a little bit. Now, whatever's left over on my brush, I'm going to go on the sides of my nose. And again, just sweep it over whatever's left, which isn't very much at this point. Shouldn't be anyways. And that acts as my finishing powder. And at the same time, it's adding just a little bit of color, which is exactly what I need, and no more and no less. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do blush. Now I am wearing black today. Sometimes in the winter time and when I'm wearing cool tones, I might wear a pinkier blush. This just happens to be by Milani, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And this is called Dolce Pink. Absolutely beautiful. And if you can see it, it's just a very light, sweet, gentle pink. When I'm wearing warmer tones, and especially in the summer, a warmer tone peachy blush is nice, but this isn't exact and it's not precise. Sometimes it just depends on if you kind of have to make that decision, but these are just some general rules. So this peachier blush is Hard Candy, found at Walmart. The Milani is found at CVS. It might be found at other places, but I haven't found it at other places yet. But this is Milani's Honeymoon. Absolutely just, I mean, beautiful, beautiful. Just a light warm peachy glow. It has a very slight amount of shimmer, so it almost acts like a highlighter in itself. Now I have neither one on, but I think I'm going to go ahead and go with Rosy. I am wearing black, and it is winter time. And I'm actually going to go back in with my Real Techniques dual fiber dome, and they call it their blush brush, but I think it's great for bronzer and blush. And it's okay that there's a little bit of bronzer left on there. Absolutely not going to hurt. Some people can get pretty picky about their brushes, but I think if we're just using it on ourselves and we're not sharing it with the public, I think we're absolutely okay. No sense in having to get all too uptight about our brushes. As long as we get it on and we clean them every so often, I think we're absolutely fine. Okay, so now using my Milani brush, again, I'm just going to swirl around the top, and I want the apples of my cheeks with the most, and then sweep it back. And again, you can see I'm on top of my cheekbone here. And you see, it really doesn't take a whole lot to get all the blush that we need. So a little swirl. Now what I'll do is I'll take a little bit and I'll go down my nose, because if you picture the sun's going to hit our hit our face. It'll hit our cheeks, our nose, our chins, and our forehead just a little bit. So I do take that little bit, very light, almost like what's left in the brush. And I go down and I actually meld it in a little bit with my bronzer color so that my colors are all the same. So I don't just have orange here, here, and here, but I have layers of subtle color that gives, you know, just a full. And I'll just take whatever's left over in the brush, and also at the same time I'm blending. So that's the other secret to this, is I am blending while I'm doing this, but I'm also going to blend with my flat top kabuki. Next I'm going to do my highlighter in this, and I really don't need tons of highlighter because these blushes actually have just a little bit of shimmer into it. So I'd be absolutely fine stopping right there. But out of habit, I do like to go ahead and use my MAC. This is my Mineralized Skin Finish in Porcelain Pink. It's just a nice, fair, pinky highlighter. And a smaller dual fiber brush is perfect for the job because it's focused and fits right in there. So again, just a couple little swirls, and I'm just going along here, and I'm actually getting inside my eye, and I'll explain why in just a minute, and kind of making a C, kind of coming up around and a little bit back. And just a little bit, and go right inside there. The reason why I'm doing my inside corner eye with a little bit of my highlighter is because if I were to use a really strong shimmery shadow, what happens is it collects on where the skin is looser and where we have wrinkles, and it starts to look like fish scales. So if I can do it very generally, and then I'll show you the trick is to keep the shimmer down lower when we do our eyes, then we're not going to have that issue of where the skin is a little bit looser up here if we keep our highlighter in this area, in the lower down area. Now we're going to do an overall blending and packing in a way with our flat top kabuki, and this was just from Ulta, and this is just Ulta's flat top kabuki, which is absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's just, I can't even describe how wonderful that fur feels. It's not fur, but it feels like fur up here, but it's just absolutely beautiful. So what I'm doing here, this is what helps when you're getting pictures taken, or if you're on videos or things like that. This is what helps give you that HD kind of perfect, flawless finish. And all I'm doing is I'm taking all of the different layers that I put on so far, and I'm just kind of melding them in while I'm just kind of gently pressing them in. But I'm also at the same time, by doing this, I'm blending so that I don't have any sharp lines, and everything just all blends into each other, and that creates that beautiful high definition flawless finish. Okay, now that is it for our face.